Friday, the kids were invited to go to the White House Correspondents Dinner in Washington, D.C.
That is awesome. Are they going?
Yeah.
Yeah. They were nervous because they didn't know how things would go with them so openly, publicly questioning administration. They had asked simple questions and all they wanted were simple answers. You know, they collaborated, they worked together, they overcame problems, they were polite. You know, they had people that were tired of talking to them, they were hanging up on them. They'd be like, okay, well, thank you for your time, and then they would get hung up on. So, you know, they were persistent, but they were always polite, always very respectful. And in addition to all that, they were writing this big story, and nobody knew what was going on. You know, their classroom teachers didn't know what was going on. Their fellow classmates didn't know what was going on. The other members of the newspaper staff didn't even know what was going on. So those 6 kids were completely isolated. I talked to a couple of them in class. They came up together and they were concerned. And I told them, I said, you know, at any point in time in the process, if you don't feel comfortable or you think this is a bad idea, you don't have to write the story, or you don't have to be involved, or we don't have to print it. I said, you know, it's ultimately your guys' decision, and I will support you either way. If you guys decide this is not our place or it's over our head, I would completely respect that. I said, however, you need to think about your responsibility to the community and the situation that you're in, and that it's not always easy to do the right thing, and I think what you're doing is right. When we left the room that night, we were pretty excited, and I think there was a lot of nervous energy. I didn't get to read the story until they put it on the page to PDF it to send to the printer, so I think I was probably a little bit more excited than they were because they knew what was going on, and I didn't. You know, Friday the story printed, Saturday the local paper printed a story, and the headline was "Superintendent Refutes School Newspaper Claims." That definitely was worst case scenario. That was what we did not want to happen. Well, then about, you know, late afternoon we got an email asking us to attend a last minute faculty meeting, and then everybody was really concerned because, you know, we were going to continue down this path supporting her and backing her and saying like everything's okay, don't worry about it. Were we going to switch gears? We didn't really quite know what direction it was going, so I was nervous. I think everybody was pretty nervous. The kids were like, oh my gosh, a faculty meeting? You know, we are talking about your livelihood and supporting your family and things like that. And so, I mean, it wasn't like if we printed the story, I was going to be fired, but you know, that concern is always there for every faculty member, I think, is, you know, if you push the envelope too much, then you're going to create waves and nobody wants to be the wave maker. So at the faculty meeting, the superintendent said that he had been in contact with the newly hired principal and had requested her to provide some paperwork, some documentation such as official transcripts, and he said ultimately she was unable to produce those documents and had not been returning his phone calls or emails. That if she had not resigned by that evening, then the board would terminate her contract. I was very, very proud of them throughout the whole process for it, but that was a proud moment for sure because they were the catalyst for that change. What if they had been wrong? What would have the story been like in the opposite? I mean, would have made national news for embarrassing a professional. You know, it would have been a completely different situation. So we were recently invited by the Huffington Post to attend as their guests for the White House Correspondents Dinner. It's a red carpet, black tie affair, and they are paying for us to fly out and to stay in a hotel, and so we're going to leave on next Friday, and we'll return on Sunday.